Like when you first came to America.
Coming to America today.
That's a great song.
So we're going to do some Spanish supernatural creatures. So this is going to be an impromptu Spanish legendary creatures. So we're going to focus.
I haven't heard of any of these.
What? Los duendes, el cuco.
El cuco I've heard from you. And duendes I've heard.
El cuco is like not
el
cool.
Cuco or el coco?
We call it el cuco. Depending on where you're, depending on the place that you're in. So in Mexico, they call it el cucuo. El cucu. I mean, it's called like el cucu. El cucu is like pretty much similar to the same thing that we believe in, which is like el cucu is like this creature that hides under the bed, and what he does, he takes little kids.
You're recording this. We have to do the intro.
No, homie.
Yeah.
This is impromptu.
No, impromptu.
Impromptu. Tonight is an impromptu podcast. Hey, we've been recording already.
Are you serious? You have to stop doing. I need to learn how to look at this. Oh my god, 2 minutes of nothing.
2 minutes of nothing. That's what I'm talking about. Not 2 minutes of nothing. I take that back.
You're like literally telling everybody, oh, this is what we're talking about.
That's right. This is how we roll.
Oh my
this is
gosh.
real.
Old school podcast. So it's like you hear everything from like, podcast started in the early 2000s when I said, hey, I want to start a podcast, and I never did.
Yeah, there was no like, let me get this nice sound.
I'm gonna quote my elementary school art teacher, Mrs. Knowles. If you're out there, I still remember you saying, "Time wasted cannot be regained."
Anyway, back to the Spanish legendary creatures and folklore. So the main thing is, I want to talk about some of these. Like, there's some that I'm really like. To this day, I still tell my kids about it, and I also told Nicole about it, and which is kind of weird. She's talking about, I've never heard of it.
No, like I said, I've heard it from you. I didn't hear those growing up. Like,
I have. So let me tell you. I'm gonna start with the innocent ones. So growing up, we used to watch the Smurfs, right?
Right.
So when you watch the Smurfs, you got Gargamel, and we used to call it, in Spanish it was Gargamel. El Papa Smurf, Gargamel. So the thing was, we found these little blue guys. Gargamel, he used to eat the little Smurf because that was his diet.
He tried, but he never got to.
Well, he ate them because somehow he thought he was always trying to eat them, meaning that he ate them before, meaning that he's had Smurfs before. No. So think about this. If you're trying to eat something, that means you've had something.
No,
so he's got
you want to try it. It's like you want to try forbidden fruit.
No. The forbidden fruit. No, listen. If you eat Smurfs and you want to eat more Smurfs, or better yet, let me rephrase that. If you're trying to eat Smurf, that means that you've had Smurfs before and you have a taste for Smurfs. Okay?
Oh, okay.
So, Gargamel, and what was the name of the cat?
Azrael.
Was it Azrael? Yeah, Azrael. That's right. So, we're going to talk a lot about... So, Azrael, for some of you people who might not know this, but Azrael is the angel of death in the Muslim culture. So, he is the angel of death. So, he is the, Azrael. So, he's like, comes around, not the angel... Yeah, kind of like... I would say the what's it called, the guy with the sign. Yeah, what's his name?
Death. The angel of death.
Yeah, the angel of death. No, but there's the other guy.
I've seen enough Supernatural to know.
It's
just
okay, we're going off topic, but anyway, back to Azrael. So Azrael is the angel of death, but it's just hilarious how these cartoons are. Back in the days, growing up as a kid, we would watch these cartoons, and now that we're older, we start paying attention to the names of these characters.
The symbols and things.
Yeah,
like
you see the
more
symbols, and you're like, holy smokes. There was a lot of dark stuff embedded into these cartoons that later on, come to find out, it's a little bit scary.
Kind of like songs, like when you hear them now, you're like, oh, I know what that 2 Live Crew song means.
Pop that couche.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, off topic, okay. 3 or 5%. Hey,
Yeah.
anyways, back to what we were saying. Look, the Smurf. So the first folklore that we're gonna talk about is gonna be like Los Duendes. So Los Duendes is like this little it's like this folklore about these little guys, man. So they're like these little creatures that um they're like they're like these little humanoids, and
Is that what they look like?
yeah.
That's scary.
Yeah, we need to put some of these
I'll put
pictures
those on Instagram.
Yeah, we'll put those on Instagrams. Yeah. So they're like these humanoid figures, right? So depending on where you're from, they're like gnomes. So we're all used to going to, the grocery store, to Walmart. Hey, not sponsored by Walmart here, but Walmart or Target, not sponsored by Target either. Hey, Target, hit us up. Walmart, hit us up. But anyway, so these little guys, they look so nice and cute, and you see them. But in reality, these little gnomes are creepy, very creepy. And they're called duendes,
I know what
meaning
these are
they're
now.
los dueños de casa.
Yeah.
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 So
I used
they're
to have an
supposed to protect
abuelita that
your
used to
home.
take care of me when I was little. And she would tell
Oh
me,
my
like,
God.
if I
Oh my
misbehaved,
god. Oh
que
my
lo
god.
duende were going to.
I'm trying not to make this too creepy, but yeah, los duendes are gonna come and get you. So
Yeah.
at the end, if you think about it, like a lot of our parents, like, or how can I word this? People that used to watch over us and take care of us and
Terrorize
stuff,
us.
they would terrorize us. Like they were like, "Oh no, los duendes are gonna come and get you," But these things, they're like creepy as hell. So growing up, I remember watching the Smurfs. So to me, they were like these little innocent things that were always defending themselves against the humans that were trying to take them, this guy Gargamel, and stuff, right? Now the thing about the duendes is they go around and they steal stuff, and they steal stuff from your home, and they build like this little village, and they have like this little town. But the problem is when you were a kid, the first thing that our parents always tell us is los duendes are gonna come and get you. For some odd reason, someone's always coming to get us.
Right.
It's like someone's coming to get us.
But they're like trolls.
More
than Smurfs,
Yeah, they're
right?
like trolls, but to me, los duendes, I've always felt that they were not like trolls, but they were more like whenever I would hear about them, I thought of them not as gnomes, but I thought of them like those creatures that are underground,
Trolls?
not trolls, but
Oh, the ones I call like the birds that I don't like. The gargoyle. No.
not gargoyle, but they're like these very evil looking things. So like in Harry Potter, what was the name of the ones that lived underground? That did the minings, and were they like gnomes, or what were they?
Like the ones that
They kept the
carried all
gold.
the gold and the treasure.
Yeah.
They were gargoyles.
No, they're not gargoyles. Gargoyles are on top of the churches, and
No.
they protect the churches and stuff like that.
They're
Gar-
the things that I call those birds of prey on the side of the road. That I call
Goblins.
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 Yeah.
That's the word. So for me, gnomes, to me, I always thought of them as goblins, and the reason why is because
exactly.
goblins, they live in the ground,
Mhm.
and they take you and they put you to work, and you do their bidding and their jobs or whatever. But then on top of that, they eat you. They're pretty much done with you, they pretty much eat you. So that's, to me, los duendes, that's a traumatizing thing, way traumatizing thing. Now,
So like the lady from the witch from not Jack and Jill, Hansel and Gretel.
Hansel and
She
Gretel?
would be like a German form of un duende.
no, she's not. She's
Or
a
she's
witch.
just a witch.
She's a witch.
Gotcha.
She's
Okay.
like, yeah, she's a witch. So, so for us, so I'm Dominican, full Dominican. So we have this thing called La Ciguapa.
The what?
La Ciguapa.
That's
La
fun.
Ciguapa. And it's funny because I read up on it not too long ago. So La Ciguapa in our culture is this, it's like a siren. But it's a beautiful siren.
Does she live in the ocean?
Depending on who you are, she can be, no, she doesn't. She comes out in the moonlight, full moon. She comes out, and you see her in the woods and wandering around, and you hear her kind of like a siren call.
Or what's that one?
But La
Succubus?
Ciguapa.
Does she does she
Maybe. But La Ciguapa, the creepy things about Ciguapa is this beautiful woman, depending on who you are, depending on what you are, like I would say like your intent, like in your heart and how you are, La Ciguapa sees when you look at her. You're not supposed to look at her in the eyes. If you look at her in the eyes, kind of like Medusa, she like pretty much owns you now. You're hers, and you're done, right? So La Ciguapa, the creepy thing about La Ciguapa is you don't know where she's going because her legs are backwards. So her legs are, instead of facing forward, they're facing back.
They're like the lady from
And
the
that-
freaking story of last week.
Oh, I don't know, but that's what I wanted to say. Like a lot of these folklore tales across Spanish culture, a lot of them are similar, like the cuco and stuff that we're gonna talk about later. But La Ciguapa, she's very creepy. So she goes out, and it's the same thing. Like the story that we covered last time about that lady in the middle of the
La
night comes
Mala
out, La Mala Hora, right? So La Ciguapa, when she comes out and she sees you, you make contact with her. She looks at you, and as soon as she looks at you, you're either you fall for her, and if you fall for her, you're pretty much done. Kind of like the sirens. How back then in the days, the sirens you would hear if you were sailors. The sailors will hear the sirens, and then these beautiful singing
Right, they would lead
sirens.
them to their death.
They will lead them to crash their boat, and then they become their slave.
You know what's interesting?
So,
Okay, so these are like Dominican.
no, these are La Ciguapa is one of the Dominican. There's different folklore, so
And
we're
the-
talking
what
about
was-
covering some
The,
folklore.
what was the other one?
El cuco.
No, the one
in
before.
which one?
Not the duende.
Los duendes.
So
Yeah.
you know how Dominican food is like from all over the world, and it combines like all these different cultures.
Yeah,
this
but
is what this kind of reminds me of.
But this thing is not like these characters are not just Dominican specific. So like the duendes. So this is just Spanish
The duendes,
folklore.
like
we're
Spanish, like
we're covering
Spain.
all Spanish folklores.
Okay.
Well, so the duendes come, like going back a little bit. The duendes come back from the Iberian area, which Iberia is Spain. You know. So, but because again, Spain is in the European culture. So when you look at it, what does European have?
Right.
You know, they have leprechauns. So the duendes are kind of like sirens,
succubi.
leprechauns, things like that. So you're gonna have those folklores, but also you're gonna have from the part of Spain. You also have the Islamic folklores because
Right.
Spain was conquered
Because of the
by
Moors.
the Moors. So Spain was conquered by the Moors for a while. So again, it's gonna be a mix of folklores and things like that. But back to La Ciguapa, which is this back walking land siren. So that's what happens. So, but there's this thing called the they can hunt them down. You have to have and I would love to talk a little bit more about this Ciguapa because it is very creepy. Because when you think about it, there's a way that you can hunt Ciguapas.
What?
Yeah, there's a dog. You have to have a particular type of dog.
Is it
And
a
I forget the
Maltese?
name.
'Cause, you know,
No,
you
it's
can
not a
get me
Maltese. No. So it's a particular type of dog. But then the other thing is when people start talking about like the Ciguapa, people try to associate the Ciguapa with like the Taino Indians, which is like the native to the Caribbean island, the Indians that used to be there, which were pretty much decimated by the Spanish, which there's no Tainos in the Dominican Republic. They were pretty much wiped out, like clearly wiped out.
So were they also in the part that was Haiti?
No. Actually, they were in the whole island. So the Taino were in the whole island, and like the DR was, and this is something later on that we can talk about. But related to the Ciguapa, I'm just trying to say that this is not a Taino Indian, like a Taino folklore. Because the Ciguapa is a more modern thing. It's like 1800 or something like that.
For sure.
So in the 1800, I forgot the name of the poet, but I will have to, like I said, I want to talk about more of the Ciguapa. And I think it could be its own podcast on its own a little bit. But La Ciguapa, it became more of a story of a poet. So kind of like it was romanticized per se. So it's kind of like, remember back, I'm trying to think of the name of the thing. Not Odyssey. Was it the Odyssey? Not Homer's Odyssey.
Well, there's the Odyssey, like where he goes on a long trip and.
Well, yeah,
kills
but
his mother.
remember how he get trapped with the sirens? So the sirens, they kind of sing. they trap. They don't trap the what's that called when they sing to the sailors? So they sing to the sailors and they get them into a trance, and then they become and they stay there and they're eating and they're like
the fairies.
According to the story, yeah. So they just eat and eat, but the more they eat, they're poisoning themselves and they're dying. So the food that they're eating, it's rotten food. It's not like
good food.
It's not good food. So they don't know that. So I really want to learn a little bit more about that, like las iguapas and stuff like that. But back to the ciguapa. So yeah, so I'm gonna that's one of the Dominican Republic las iguapa. You know, the other thing is like we have like we said earlier, the cuco, right? So el cuco is the you know it's like the Spanish boogeyman. So there's different versions of it. There's el coco, el cucuo, el cuco, depending on what part of the world you're in. So if you're in the Dominican Republic, we call it el cuco. If you're in the I would say like in Mexico, they call it el cucuo or el coc. He would take any little kid that's not that doesn't listen, that misbehaves.
Like the boogeyman.
Yeah. So any exactly like the boogeyman. So if you misbehave, if you don't listen, parents will be like, "El cuco te va a coger." The cuco's gonna get you.
Yeah.
And I was like, "What the hell?" So I try. Yeah. I mean, pretty put torture and nightmares on us kids, right? So I don't say that to my kids. I don't say, El Cuco,
no, we don't.
The boogeyman. So speaking of the boogeyman, man, and for you guys, I swear, like I just saw the previews to the Stephen King, the boogeyman.
That like really traumatized you.
And I am traumatized.
You haven't even seen the movie.
I haven't even seen the movies. I saw the previews.
Does it involve kids or old people?
Kids. And you know me and kids and old people, they're innocent. And it's like when you're older and if you're an older person, you know, because there's something about being vulnerable. And that's when you're older, you're vulnerable. And then when you're like a young child, you're also vulnerable. But when I saw this thing, this preview, first of all, what scared me the most, what got me, I would say, was the fact that they talked about how the movie was put on pause. Because it was that scary.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So they had to like make it less scary.
You know what? Let me tell you something.
For it to not be like rated okay, triple R.
No. I don't know. Whatever they. But let me tell you something. If they made it less scary than what I just saw,
okay, so
I can only imagine.
The preview was always like the best parts of stuff, right? So like they probably.
Let me tell you, Stephen King.
You've probably seen all the scary stuff.
No. Stephen King is the boss.
Yes, he is.
And let me tell you, this movie. Out of all these folklores, El Cuco,
as long as it doesn't have sharks,
takes the cake. Sharks. You know what? I'll take a shark over a Cuco or the boogeyman that I just saw. Like I'll take a shark because
I have
at
to
least
watch the preview.
Oh my god! No,
can we link it in the show notes?
Yeah, we'll link it. We'll link it in the show notes. Stephen King, good job on that one. Let me know. This thing
is scary.
Is like Stephen King's his brain. Like, his mind, the way that he created this creature, it is so dark. And then what kills me, like I'm getting goosebumps talking about it right now, but what kills me about it, whoever the director, the way that they promoted this movie and this advertisement to this movie was sick. And I mean sick as in like a good way. Like, they started this thing in a therapist's office.
Oh, great.
There's a sister. I want to say is a sister, an older sister and a younger sister in a therapist. If I'm not mistaken, in a therapist's office. I might be wrong. Sister or brother and sister, I don't know. But I want to say it's a sister and a little sister, an older sister and a little sister, or a sister and a mom, whatever. In a therapist's office. Out of nowhere, this lady says, keep in mind, they got the creepiest therapist I've ever seen in my life. She's like gaunt looking kind of somewhat. And then out of nowhere, this woman sets a clock and said, we're about to turn the lights off. And then the timer starts clicking. So people that have phobias, so there's this thing called phobias, right? Phobias of the dark, spider phobia, arachnophobia,
I don't like
dark.
lizards.
This lady said, we are going to not challenge or test or whatever, but we're going to, tackle this
Right,
phobia.
So like the fighter, like you have to flood the fear. That is like a
All
form
I know-
of therapy where you.
look,
I think
all
it's
I
called
know is
flooding.
this.
If my
All I know is this.
psychology minor.
This lady said, we're going to tackle your fear of the dark. The little girl is talking to this therapist, and she's telling, keep in mind, it's already kind of dim in that room. And the little girl is saying, hey, this thing comes out in the night and does whatever.
And of course, she's in therapy at nighttime.
And they're in this room. They're about to shut the curtains. They're about to turn the lights off. And this lady starts counting backwards. And the clock goes click. And then you hear this thing going, ta, ta, ta. Dude, I started panicking. And this is just a preview. I'm not even watching the movie. I started panicking. And then out of nowhere, it goes dark. And let me tell you, this creature.
I'm gonna have to look it up.
This creature came out of like the rest of the movie, the rest of the previous to this movie, I was like, holy smokes, what just happened? And I was having a complete meltdown. I'm sorry. I keep apologizing, but I keep focusing on the cuckoo because it's such a traumatizing thing. And the more I see this damn boogeyman, the more I should have never watched this preview, but something pulled me to it.
Now I'm afraid before I go to sleep.
Don't watch that tonight. No. Who does that? I mean, I watched it at night that night, and I was like, luckily I'm the type of person that passes out, and I don't really care. But I'm like, why?
Just send me images.
No, don't click on any of that, please. I was like, what was I thinking when I clicked on this thing? But I'm not hyping it up or whatever. I'm a chicken shit. Whatever. I'm a chicken shit. Count me in as a chicken shit. I'm good with that. But you know what? I don't care. Whatever. So this thing is on point. So
it's like the cuckoo embodied. Your childhood nightmares embodied.
No, not really, because I go to bed with no problem.
No, like is that what
I can tell you though, this thing.
Were you afraid of El Cuckoo when you were little?
We all were.
So like the boogeyman.
We were all afraid of El Cuckoo.
No, yeah, like they would tell me
like my mom was like, "Hey, make sure you're home before the sun goes down. El Cuckoo te va a coger." I was like, "What?"
Yeah,
so
I'll be there.
Man, listen, my biggest fear was when you be running and you think the lights would start going click, 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 like as you're running home, like oh, you're trying to make it home and you see like all the lights. The first thing that comes to your mind is like Freddy Krueger, like those movies when each light on the street starts flickering, and then you think like the light in your neighborhood. As soon as that light clicks off, you're like, oh my god, and you start panicking. You start dashing to your house. You're like, oh my god, I'm so late.
Yeah.
But in reality, the person you're gonna be afraid of is your mom. Who's about to hit you upside the head with that broomstick or that switch that she's waiting for you because you decided to get home late. But
before the street lights.
Yeah, before the street light. So before darkness. I mean, it only makes sense. But a Google is like traumatizing. Okay, so now the other one that we have, which is a joke. This is like a full-blown joke, right? So everyone's called El Chupacabra. It's like, honestly, El Chupacabra is a Chupacabra. I'm not even going to talk about a lot about this thing, but this thing has become, but at the same time, when you talk about the Chupacabra, it's a serious thing. This is more of a Puerto Rican folklore. But somehow this Chupacabra has made it to Mexico,
it's mainstream.
Florida.
Yeah.
Somehow it's traveling all over the world. So there's some kind of portal.
There's pictures of it on the internet.
Yeah. Interweb. There's some picture of this thing traveling, globally across the globe and doing this thing. And for some folks that don't know what a Chupacabra is, it's called a goat sucker. And what it does is, it's supposed to be this creature that has like this. Like a vampire thing, fang or something. So it attacks the creature, it punches them, and then it drains them of blood, and it takes their blood. So it's like, if you think about it, it's like the only thing I can think of, something attacking a cow. Like let's say a cow gets attacked by something. I'm like, if this thing is punched, it's like it's got to be packs of these things. You know what I mean? Like it's not just one goat sucker. It's got to be like multiple things when they're attacking these cows, because you hear issues with cows, like cattle and things like that. Like in the Americas or in the Midwest and stuff like that are attacked by the chupacabra. And the chupacabra, again, this goat sucker, is attacking these people, you know. I mean, not the people, I'm sorry, my apologies. They're attacking these animals, but no one seems to see it. There's pictures online that they talk about it, like, hey, the chupacabra looks like this, the chupacabra look like that. And I'm like, what the hell is the chupacabra, you know? So the first time I looked it up, I was like, this is a joke, you know, people joke about it and things like that. But the first sighting of this creature was in Puerto Rico, and this thing, like, was the story, actually, I got a lot of useless information in my head, but so the story of the chupacabra, it goes back to, in Puerto Rico, I want to say the government, they have a satellite place out there, right? So they have this huge satellite
Like
thing.
the Puerto Rican government or the
No,
U.S.
no,
government?
the U.S. government,
Yeah.
like this big thing out there, and I forget what is the name of the place. But they keep saying that there's like if you hear like stories of ¿cómo se llama? Oh my God, what's the name of this place? It's like a portal. So they're like, oh, these things are opening portals. So you hear like the people that talk about like the supernatural, and I'm like, dude, that's some scary shit. So I know these things are not opening portals, but to me, I'm like, yo, if this thing is like coming through a portal, I would lose my shit. Like, I would lose my mind. But the chupacabra, though, it's like, people say that they look like the first time I saw it, like what, 20 years ago? I didn't see the chupacabra. Now let me go back. The first time I saw the commercial on the news, Primer Impacto, by the way, you know, Primer Impacto. That's us, the Hispanic, you know, us Hispanic in,
Like Vice News,
in Florida. Yeah. So in Florida, we have Canal 51, el Primer Impacto, la historia del chupacabra, a las 7 de la noche, a las 7. You know, so it's like you sit there, we're waiting, oh my God, 7 o'clock is coming around. It's time for the chupacabra news. We're about to hear what's going on with the chupacabra, right? So next thing you know, you're sitting there and you're watching this thing, and it's a picture of a dog, you know,
With like fangs.
with like fangs, like dead on the thing. Yeah, like something dead. And I'm like, what in the world? That's what I remember seeing. Now, the story of the chupacabra is supposed to be a lizard-like creature, right? So it's supposed to be like this alien-like creature, some kind of wizard-like creature that you can see it in the woods, and it's in the swamp, and it's in the area. So it's roaming in the forest, in the Puerto Rican forest out there, and it just goes around kind of like a vampire per se. You know, just lives off eating goats and livestock and stuff like that. So be safe. Watch out for the chupacabra. So you know, but yeah. So that's the crazy thing about that, right? So when you look at that, now there's one story that's called Legend of La Encantada, right? So La Encantada, the enchanted one, right? So it's this woman that it changes. So there's like different stories, and it's to be honest with you, I consider them kind of like, you know, like sirens, you know, like to me, it's like a lot of them are sirens. So all these beauties of these women, that they attract men, and they get them to this river, and next thing you know, like these women, they entrance. That's the word. They entrance the individual, and for some odd reason, us men, we're weak. We're weak to beauty, you know. So what happens is, like, these folks, these women, they entrance these men, and then they fall for the beautiful sound of their voice, and they bring them, and they come over to the creek or river, or wherever these women are, and these women are sitting there, and they're like admiring themselves, making sure, looking at themselves beautiful, and the way that they're dressed very provocative, right? So the man is like walking, just roaming, and they're like, what?
And they're helpless.
Yeah, they're like hopeless, and these guys are like, oh my god, what is it? This woman's so beautiful. So you got this man peeking through the thing, not knowing that this enchanted woman has already scouted them.
Why is it always gotta be a woman?
Women got the power, man. All I know is this, that the issue is that the man, they don't realize that enchanted woman already know that they're there.
And they're like
Because
gonna meet their doom.
Yeah. So she's already she's like the Black Widow, man, almost like, right?
Oh my god.
But anyway, she's already scouted that guy. Like, she is the predator.
Mm-hmm.
So she already knows that guy is walking, is roaming in that area. She's already scouted them, and now she's like, he's done. So what happens is, this guy sees these beautiful women by the river, by the creek, by wherever. And next thing you know,
he's gone.
He falls for her, and she does what she's about to do with him, and he's done. They find his body like a day or two later on down the river, and she's taking whatever she needs to take from him. So a lot of these creatures, which is kind of scary, right? Like, they steal your soul. Mm-hmm. So that's how they say in power. Like, so your soul is taken from you, and you're like, pretty much like this. You become like this gauntlet.
So are you still alive, or like you're?
No, you're done. You're dead. You're dead. Yeah, no, you're dead. You're dead.
So again, more like on the idea of a succubus.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, and it's similar, right? So when you think about it, you're like Encantada, La Sirena, which is the sirens, the succubus.
But like, what does Encantada mean?
The enchanted
for
one.
people who don't speak Spanish.
Encantada, the enchanted.
Right. Yeah, you like when you meet someone, you say Encantada, like it's
no, you don't say Encantada.
Yes, you do when you meet someone,
no, mucho gusto.
Like you're like, but you say Encantada sometimes. Yeah.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
No.
Like, it's nice to meet you. Like, it's been a nice.
It's but you're not gonna say mucho muy encantado, encantada. You say, you'll say something like that. Like you at the end, proper.
Like at the end of the night,
proper. You'll say, fue un placer. It's been a pleasure, but you're not gonna be like.
Like, you say muy encantado. Like, when you meet, I don't know unless that's like a Cuban thing.
No, I've heard it from other South American culture and stuff. Yeah, they use it. They use it all the time. And I've listened. I've spoken to some folks recently, and they'll say, after I finish talking to them in Spanish, they'll say to me, "Fue un placer, un encanto, un encanto."
Exactly.
Yeah, but encantada. No, un encanto.
It's like,
it's been a pleasure.
Right. Encantada is different.
No, ha sido un placer. It's un encanto. It's been a kind of like a nice way of saying, hey, thank you for your gesture. Was very
magical.
No, not magical, but like, thank you for your you were. It was a pleasing. It was a pleasure.
My pleasure.
Yeah, my pleasure. Yeah, there you go. Mm-hmm. And my pleasure. A Spanish way of saying my pleasure. Un encanto. Un encanto. Fue un encanto. My pleasure. Un placer.
Like encantada.
But encantada is not encantada.
No, like I've met people and they say like like I don't know.
Yeah, so
like they'll say that to me, like it was like.
Sí, fue un encanto.
Right, to me. I don't ever say that to them usually. I'm just saying.
Yeah, so, but the thing about these women, these women are
gorgeous.
I mean, they're gorgeous. Like when you see these, right? So, actually, I just saw the word nymph, right? So in
instead
Greek,
of the siren, they're nymphs.
So they're nymphs. So
but
in
it's like
Greek,
water.
No, they're in caves. Nymphs are in caves.
Okay.
Nymphs are in caves. So in Greek mythology, if you ever hear the story of the nymphs, they're in caves and they're witches. I believe, if I'm not mistaken. But they look beautiful until you see them. They're like, they become like this. They transform. Because again, they have you in a trance. So you don't know. Like, you don't need. all you're seeing is their beauty because of what they fed you and what they've given you, but you don't know what's really going on. Like you don't see who they are until you're out of the trance. Once you're out of the trance, it's like
it's too late.
whoa, like
if you come out of the trance,
your soul is gone. You know, your soul is gone. You know, so La Encantada, that's another very interesting legend, Spanish legend that we have. The
that one sounds pretty. It sounds like magical.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Not like scary.
It's you see, that's the problem. That you might not think it's scary, but they're killing you.
Okay, but at least you're like dying happy. You're not like terrified.
But they're killing you. Dying happy.
Well, it's kind of like fairies. Like if you get taken to fairy world, you can't eat anything because then you're just gonna like die there. You stay there and like you never. But fairies aren't necessarily like. Some of them are hideous looking, but they're not usually. Right?
Yeah, but they're taking your soul. They're taking your
soul. Yes.
Yeah. So now I'm gonna. I mean, we got more that we can talk about, but I'm gonna save this one now for last.
Okay.
La Llorona.
That could be like a whole entire episode.
That is a whole episode that we are gonna be working on next. And actually, I think I don't want to promise that this will be the next one, but I wanted to save the best for last. La Llorona.
Okay.
La Llorona, you know, that's a story based on. It's like in Spanish culture. In English, in American culture, in European culture, and there's different versions of La Llorona,
right.
You know. So we have the traditional I would say the traditional version of La Llorona is
the mom who killed her kids.
The mom that is crying around the river
because her kids are dead or she killed
because her kids were drowned by her, right? Allegedly. Now this is a story, so. The kids were drowned.
She had postpartum.
The reason why she drowned them was because her husband at the time, the story goes that her husband met another woman when he went away on the trip. And this other woman that he met, she discovered that she found out that she met this other woman, and she noticed this, and she ended up killing them. On his way back, he heard her. He hears her crying about it. Like, what the hell just happened? But then the issue is, the story now is that this woman is so, like her action was so evil that now she just hunts everyone near the river. So she roams the rivers in a white dress.
I'm going to be miserable. You're going to be miserable too.
Yeah. I mean, the guy fucked up. I'll be honest with you. It's crazy, but at the same time too, it's like the lady was like, "Wow, like what just happened?" So by the time she realized,
that's probably like based in some kind of truth too.
Yeah, because a lot of these things, but it's just so sad because she attacked the guy and killed him. I believe, if I'm mistaken, the story goes. But again, the Llorona is going to be a whole thing that we want to talk about because I really want to talk about. La Llorona, I want to cover like the origins of La Llorona, you know, meaning like where did they come from, and it's technically based in Mexico,
right? So
it took place. La Llorona took place in Mexico, like, and there's a beautiful song that they made about La Llorona. It's called La Llorona, and it's interesting. Llorona, Llorona, so it's really nice, but the story is very dark. It's very sad, you know. I know, like, Hollywood has over dramatized La Llorona. Like, there's this movie called La Llorona that
you can't forget the supernatural episode. That's probably one of my favorite supernatural episodes.
Well, yeah,
do you remember
that's
that
true.
one?
I don't. I know it was like an episode of La Llorona, but again, like it's like this woman in white, and you always hear the American version. The Lady in White.
The Lady in White.
You always hear Lady in White.
And there's a Woman of the Lake, too.
The Woman of the Lake, which is La Llorona and all that. And there's always somebody drowning kids. Like somebody that's coming from the lake that had drowned her kids and she's crying and she's coming to grab the other kids. Yeah. Well, yeah, but she wants to come in. She's coming out of the lake to grab you and take. But if I'm not mistaken, I feel like La Llorona only targets
men
that are not faithful, right? So that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking
like
again,
they're cheating some way or something.
Yeah.
Like,
So if the man has not been faithful or something like that, I'm like, is that the case?
Right. It's a moral. It's a morality thing. Like, don't do what you're not supposed to do. Don't cheat on your wife because she might kill your kids, and then your line doesn't pass because then you die.
Yeah, she's about to take everybody out.
Again,
she's
making
like,
woman the evil thing when it was the man who did her wrong to begin with.
So we went from fue un encanto, a beautiful enchanted woman, to this woman's about to kill you.
So the basis of this entire thing is women are evil.
No, it's not. That's not true. No, it's the so, which is interesting because we talk, now that you point that out, it's true. Like, right, a lot, like, so we said, going from backwards forward, we said La Llorona, La Encantada, and then we said, we talk about, did we talk about Las Sirenas and stuff? No, we didn't.
Well, you mentioned them.
So, yeah, we mentioned them, and then the nymphs of women,
Duendes.
Los duendes are like, little goblin troll kind of thing.
And you went to the boogeyman.
Oh, God. I was not hoping to say that again, but yeah, we talked about the boogeyman. But there's a lot more. Like, this like, again, like I said, this is an impromptu podcast today. Like, I just wanted to cover some stuff that I have been looking into and trying to, like, talk about. But I know for sure La Llorona is gonna be one. I know that's a big topic of conversation. Everyone always wants to listen about La Llorona. For some odd reason, it's like, oh, La Llorona, La Llorona. You talk to someone and you'll hear La Llorona. That's the first thing they'll say. Any Hispanic person you talk to, the first thing that they're gonna tell you, regardless of what nationality they're from, what country they're from, what location they're from, La Llorona, La Llorona, or El Cuco. So these are the things that they would say, right?
Right, because it's kind of this idea that's horrible that a mother kills her own children. Like, it's against nature almost. Like, it's not supposed to happen that way, right? So that is the thing. And then it's like heartbreak, and like you can understand that. And then it's the fear of like revenge, or like, oh, we all sin, we all do these
Don't forget
bad
about La
things.
Ciguapa, the Dominican one.
But you didn't mention that one.
No, we talked about La Ciguapa, remember? With the legs backwards.
Oh, yeah. Again.
That's what I'm saying. Like, a woman.
Yeah.
So it's like these things that not evil women, but that attract, it's somehow linked to, and in the end, to be honest with you, like between La Ciguapa, La Llorona, La Encantada, it kind of links each other together in the sense of, like, I don't want to say they're the same creature.
Like it's similar threads.
La Sirena, it's like similar kind of thing. In the end, it's like attracting and drawing the man to get wiped out. So it's an interesting thing.
Wow, what is that? That's scary. We'll talk about that one.
El Cadejo.
We'll talk about that another day.
El Cadejo. That's Cujo, man. But I think
like what is it, a hellhound?
Yes, the hellhound.
That looks like a hellhound to me. It's scary.
So they're like, it comes in two, white and black. El Cadejo, it's like a origin Central America.
I've never even heard of that one.
I never heard of it, but I know it's like a dog and a deer. It's weird.
Oh my gosh, yeah. That's interesting. I want to learn more about that later.
Yeah, so it attracts people that, and it's always the same thing, right? It's like, according to this thing, it says people that are traveling at night. So nothing, like I said at the last one, nothing good comes after 12. Anything at night, when you're out at night, you shouldn't be on the street,
No, stay
so
home.
When you start hearing, like, I remember my dad, like, told my friends, were like, oh no, dude, we have this, in the Dominican Republic, there's like this snake that sounds like a rooster.
What?
I was like, what the fuck? Like, what are you talking about? And again, keep in mind, I was in my 30s when they told me this.
Too much.
Okay?
Too much.
Too much Mama Juana.
No,
too much Mama Juana. That's what it was. Yeah, too much Mama Juana. When they were here talking about, oh no, this thing looks like
it's a snake.
Yeah.
It's a snake. That's scary.
Yeah, I was like, Mama Juana. Yeah. So.
Okay, so which one would you like us to dive more deeply into? Hit us up in the comments.
Yeah, please let us know.
Send us an email.
Yeah.
At, what's our email? Violet Hour Podcast is it? Yeah. violethourpodcast@gmail.com.
Yep.
So you can catch us on Instagram and Facebook at Violet Hour Podcast. Please subscribe wherever you follow or listen to a podcast. And if you really, 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 really want to help our show, leave us a review at Apple Podcasts. So I guess that's it for tonight's episode of the Violet Hour Podcast. And you're not gonna let me not do an intro next time, right? Because you're not gonna trick me.
We're not tricking nobody.
He just thinks it sounds so natural. Like we're just starting.
It's natural.
So random.
Yeah.
No intro.
I like starting just random. No worries. No intro. No nothing. It's great.
Candid pictures.
There you go. Candid photo. It's been fun. You guys have a good night.
Catch you next time. Bye, nerds.
Hasta luego.